Surely I must be good for something.
And the home of the brave.
Game on!
Welcome to episode 10 of the Hit the Deck podcast, where we're talking deck hockey, street hockey, ball hockey. It's hockey in sneakers, and it is our 10th episode, although not our 10th anniversary, because that will be our next episode. The 10th anniversary of our first episode is our 11th episode. So for all of you who say happy anniversary, don't. Yet. Thanks for your warm wishes, and keep them to yourself.
Nice way to kick things off, G-Mac.
Thank
Love
you.
It.
I'm feisty tonight.
Yeah, well, we're just off of the the Hockey at Rockies tournament, so we got a little pent-up frustration in us a little bit, I guess. But
All right, why don't we get into it? So the starting lineup is as follows. Tonight's starting lineup, in goal, as always, I am number 35, the American Rhino, Gary McComiskey, and my co-host...
on defense, number 4, I'm James Sajazi, and just a disclaimer, I'm not feeling so well, so if Mickey Mouse or that goof Harry Belafonte take over for me, my apologies. Yeah, that's in case my voice doesn't go up to snuff, so that's just warning people out there. My apologies.
It'll be fine, but
Okay.
just on the safe side, why don't we get the on deck out of the way?
Let's do it. All right, and like Gary mentioned off air, there are only a couple of topics, but they are jam-packed. So leading things off, post-tournament talk. There's nothing nearly as great as Bob Murphy's Happy Recap, and if you don't know what that is, may a nun follow you around your place of business ringing a bell. However, Hit the Deck's post-game wrap-up is as good as it gets. Plus, it's complete with an interview of the man behind Hockey at Rockies, Mr. George Kornienko. And it's taxing. April 15th is tax day, so make sure you forcefully volunteer your hard-earned money to the wallet and purse inspector, Erwin R. Shyster. And that is what's on deck.
Thank you, James.
My pleasure. Thank you, sir.
You are quite welcome. All right, so... so why don't we get into it? How was Hockey at Rockies? I mean, I know because I was there, but I'm going to ask you for the benefit of the listener.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, it was last Saturday, and in the Brooklyn area where it was held, it was cold, it snowed a little, it rained a lot, and the street was slippery, but none of us backed down. I whined.
Stop whining.
But didn't back down. It was a lot of fun, though. I mean, like we said, and as you will hear later on, we did interview George, and it was a great interview, and there's a lot more to go into with that. We did pretty well. I mean, Gary was even recruited by another team. So you did a little bit better than the rest of us, but you made the LIQ very proud.
I was recruited by a very good team, and I barely got the win for them, so...
Yeah, stop being so humble. Anybody that was out there, it was a nail-biter. 3-2 was the final score?
3-2 was the final. The winning goal, the game-winning goal was scored with like 20 seconds left.
Yes, that's right. And the opposition, their quote-unquote second goal, was a complete BS goal because the net was off its mooring and it fell apart too. So in your defense, you played very, very well, and the team that recruited you took note of that because I believe they beat us in a previous round. And also...
I believe they slaughtered us in a previous round 7-0.
Yeah. And they... But, yeah, I mean, just you can see how well you do when you have a great team in front of you. So that's more of a slide on myself than my teammates, so apologies there. But you really played great. Like we said, you made the LIQ very proud. And there were quite a few times when the people watching the game, there was coverage, too, video coverage of the events at Rocky Sullivan's. But, yeah, a lot of people were cheering you and chanting your name and stuff, so it was pretty cool. So, well done.
You were chanting my name. That's
No,
it.
I was part of the applause and things like that, but yeah, the guys were, way to go, Gary, great save, and this, that, and the other thing. So
All right,
just
my head was in the
letting
game.
everybody
I
out
didn't
there,
really. All right, yeah, fine. Thank you.
And just in case Jen's listening and stuff like that, I'm sure your wife would be very proud of you. So,
Jen doesn't pay attention to my nonsense. Don't kid yourself.
well, okay, that's okay. That means you have a very healthy marriage, right?
Yeah, I've been married 10 years. She's immune to me by now.
Well, we appreciate that she shares you with everybody, so thank you. But yeah, it was as much fun as promised. Very competitive. The teams, like we said before, varied from great to first timers out there, and very loose atmosphere. We made some friends, new friends, hopefully, and I really enjoyed it. The only thing that was a downslide was the weather. It was very cold, and the rain didn't let up. It was snowing at a few points too, and about 5 days ago it was at the recording of this podcast. But most of my gear is still pretty much dried out, but it took a long time for it to completely dry out. As a matter of fact, I have backup jerseys and shirts that were in my bag, which was soaked, and I'm sure Gary's was the same way. But the jerseys that we didn't even wear were drenched. So.
Oh yeah, I had a lot of laundry to do the next day. So.
Yeah. But there were 12 teams that competed, correct, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, it was 10 or 12. I don't know. And what was that accent that I just broke out? I had a lot of laundry. Where am I from?
Well, you were watching Monday Night Raw the last couple of episodes, right? And that tag team that hails from the beautiful borough of Queens, right?
Oh, you're talking
NXT.
about Enzo and Big Cass, and
Yes.
yeah, you can't teach that.
That's right.
No, actually, Big Kaz is from Queens. He went to my high school, in fact, and although like 8 or 9 years after I did. But Enzo is from Jersey, so they're both from our area, but they're not from the same place.
Gotcha. Well, that was just to answer where the accent came from, but
Soft.
right.
All right, we digress.
Yeah, but for Team LIQ, which was Gary's team and mine, it was just made up of 5 guys actually, and it was you, Rhino Mac in goal, Brett, Chris, and me. So yeah, that makes 4. My math
does
is
make
very
4.
good.
That's okay.
And the rules in the Hockey at Rockies is that you have 3 forwards, 2 forwards and a defenseman if you wish, which is what we did and most teams do, and a goalie. So they are encouraged to have subs, but we did not. But like Gary mentioned, when we play in our quote-unquote league, we do adapt to their rules, in the Rockies rules being that it's 6 minutes of nonstop hockey with a 2-minute break in between, 3 periods. And if it's tied, you could go to overtime or whatever the case may be for that. But we kind of conditioned ourselves to that style of play. So we did come out with a couple of wins, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart for as many times as I personally competed in that tournament. I never was on a winning team, so thank you for my first 2 wins.
We walked away with a 500 record, 2-2. We didn't do too bad.
Yeah. And like we mentioned before, Gary was recruited by another team, so he is above 500 and well earned.
Yeah, I just
impressive. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I said I just stood there. They, they did all the work.
I disagree. But anyway, another thing, being with the weather the way it was, and Gary wears glasses, and being in goal was even more impressive. How were you able to see? Because I'm sure your glasses probably fogged up quite a few times with as brutal as the weather was.
I know, once or twice, but it really wasn't that bad. Actually, my glasses were, since I was outside, my glasses were the same temperature as everything else, so it didn't really fog up.
Okay, cool.
Although I'm glad you mentioned the weather. Just really going back to wrestling for one quick minute. I mentioned a couple weeks ago, I think, about how I added the Undertaker's music to my pregame playlist to kind of psych me up. So, and I also mentioned that I have the Undertaker's symbol on my mask. So, to kind of get myself in the right frame of mind when we started playing, or right before we started playing our first game, I put on the music as I was putting on my mask, and I kind of walked steadily and dare I say menacingly over to my goal, and as the Undertaker's music was playing from my phone as I was walking, the wind kind of kicked up and the rain was starting to fall, and it was kind of a blowing storm, and it really complemented the music very well, and it got me in a great frame of mind to play that first game. It was really cool, actually.
Yeah, that first game, you, Brett, and Chris were hitting on all cylinders too. Brett and Chris, who are members of our LIQ, and we appreciated them coming out on such an ugly day to team up with us. And yeah, they were passing the puck great and finishing shots, and really came through in the third period too. I think we ended up winning that game something like 5-1, 5-0.
I think it was 5-1. There was one goal that got scored on me. There was a guy who told me his name, but I don't remember it. I apologize, guy, whoever you are. You're probably not going to listen to this, but you were really cool, and you had a really good shot. Unfortunately, James never let you get it off, but he did manage to rip one once. It was a really hard slap shot. Got me 5-hole. And I tip my mask to that particular gentleman. Yeah,
I second that too. But yeah, speaking of names and things like that, like we said, it's a friendly atmosphere and stuff, but the way the tournament goes, it can be pretty intense. And I'm terrible with remembering people's names too, so apologies if I meet you in the future and I don't remember your name. So please don't take it personally, but I agree. He was a really cool guy. As everybody there, for the majority of the players that participated, were very cool people, very friendly people. And it was a lot of fun. So they're going to do another tournament in October. And again, you'll hear more about that in George's great interview, which will be coming up soon. So definitely check it out. And we encourage you to participate in Hockey at Rockies. It's a lot of fun. It's what hockey should be all about.
Yeah. And sorry, Jim, at Rockies, inside the bar, there were these booklets. I didn't really get a chance to look at one, but it was from Snipetown, NYC. Can you tell me a little bit about that, since I didn't get to check it out?
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Gary. As a matter of fact, like we said, there were some people out there that were covering the event besides ourselves, which we participated in as well, playing, that is. But yeah, Jack Kennelly, I believe his name is, from Snipetown, NYC. They have a website, www.snipetownnyc.com, and they're mainly a magazine, which is about hockey in the New York area. And it's really well produced. It's has a good sense of humor to it. There are great creative pictures in there as well, and some interesting stories. And it's just basically like what we're all about here at Hit the Deck. It's about the sharing of the love of hockey, and we even invited the guys of Snipetown to join us on Hit the Deck. So we'll see if they are interested in doing that in the future, so they can tell us more about what they're all about. But you can check it out yourselves in the meantime. The website is there, and they actually have a physical magazine, which, those things don't exist that much anymore. I still have a subscription to Sports Illustrated, and I enjoy reading books and things, but the way the times are going, those things are going in the way of the dodo. But it's a great magazine, and you would enjoy it, and definitely check it out.
All right, thank you, James. I will put the link to Snipetown up on our Facebook page.
Awesome. Yeah, I hope that they get the message and join us on a future Hit the Deck.
Okay. All right. So at this time, I would like to send it away to 5 days ago. And James, take it away.
All right. Welcome, everybody. We have a special guest here today for our podcast, and it's George Kornienko, the man responsible for the Rocky Sullivan's deck hockey tournament. Thank you for joining us, George. I appreciate it.
Fellas, thanks for having me, and I don't know about being a special guest, but I'm honored to be on the show, so it's all good.
No, thank you. We appreciate your taking the time for us.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, anybody who promotes the game of hockey is good in our book.
Yes,
so specifically deck hockey, too. So that's what this podcast is actually all about.
Absolutely.
So, for leading things off, for our audience, just please tell us what Hockey at Rockies is and how you decided to start deck hockey tournament.
Hockey at Rockies, this is now our 7th year, our 8th tournament. We decided to do a fall and a spring one due to the success of the spring one, and it's just one of those things. I'm a born and raised Brooklynite, and I've loved hockey since I was a kid. I played like all kids. I played baseball, I played basketball, I played football, and hockey. I played all of them, with the exception, ironically, of hockey organized. I played CYO basketball, not on a traveling team. Let's get that out of the way, because that means you're really good. Pee-wee football, Pop Warner football, and Little League baseball, like everyone does. But I've always had a huge connection. We all grew up playing street hockey together and roller hockey in the front of the house and everything like that. And it was just something we got to Reddick here. I literally took a look, and I know this is for radio, we can't hear, or a podcast, but there's a street here that just had street hockey written all over it. I said we could fit two things here. Let's see what we do and let's see how it goes. And in 2010, we decided to have the first one, and it's gotten bigger and better every year. And what it was like I said, it's interesting. You said deck hockey, street hockey. What is this? Everyone said, why don't we do it on rollerblades or roller skates? And my answer was because I'm old and I'll be in the emergency room. So that's part of the reason why we decided to do it just on deck hockey on foot. But everybody was very receptive to it. And the first year we did it Hockey Weekend in America. Oh, nice. And so we tried to coincide with that. And it was just something, Reddick has been developing itself just as an aside too. So it was one of those things, nothing goes on here. It's a very seasonal place. A lot goes on in the spring and summer. So we said, let's do this in the dead of winter. Yeah. Let's do it for Hockey Weekend in America.
That makes great sense.
And we had 6 teams. It was absolutely brutally cold.
Right. Especially off the water.
We made, because we were trying to figure it out, I didn't realize, about the loop. About just ordering Milex street hockey goals and everything. Sure. So we built our own stuff out of PVC and construction stuff and had a primitive board system set up. It was freezing, it was windy, but your friends will tell you, and everyone who's been here, there's a lot of teams, most teams here have been here since the first one. It was so much fun, we said we'd do it again. And every year it's been a bigger and bigger success. More teams. Now, as I said, you see we have a little bit better with the jersey barriers, but it's really, the thing was, just like I said, to get something going down here. And like I said, to promote hockey, and we were talking before we went on the podcast. The reason I said that is because my line was, which I've used before, all hockey fans are sports fans. Not all sports fans are hockey fans, and hockey fans are a special breed. And if anyone was here today, you could see with a bunch of teams playing out in the pouring rain, and everybody with a smile on their face like they were a little kid. So
I think it was snowing
wonderful.
At one point.
Yeah, we did get a little bit of snow too. So I hope that sufficiently answers the question.
Absolutely, thank you.
Totally, thank you. And speaking of which, with the streets the way they are, and having the big IKEA over here too. You have to go through a lot of trouble getting permits to block off the street.
Well, it's interesting you say it's like anything else. Absolutely, it's not a problem. It's just it's like anything else you ever do with anybody trying to do any kind of endeavor. You realize the first time you try to do something is always one of the hardest.
Yeah,
because you have to get it off the ground, and then like anything else in life, you try to learn from your mistakes. But to be very honest with you, when I first broached the idea of it, because he said this, I was like, well, it just affects the buses, but they could go around.
Yeah.
And, you have to go through, in New York City, you have to go through the community board and the police department, what have you. But as we said, we told them, they were very receptive to the idea. So we want to do a street hockey tournament. It's going to be for anybody in the neighborhood who wants to come. It's open to everybody. It's open to kids from 12 to 82. We've had guys in their 70s playing it.
Yeah.
And just if it's, something you're looking to start, pick a good spot for it. If anybody ever wants to get in touch with me, I'd be more than happy to give advice on it. But it's just getting the first one is always the hardest one to do. Yeah. But as I said, if once you get your ducks in a row, it really helps. And I have a wonderful person who helps me get the permit every year. Our friend Jamie Slater, who lives upstairs above Rockies, helps coordinate it with us too, and is great with the community board and the police department and everything that needs to be done. So it's not a huge undertaking, but just be ready to do a little homework on it, and it's not as hard as you think.
Okay, great, thank you. You said that you had the first tournament about 6 years ago.
February 2010. That's what it just seems like yesterday.
Yeah, and you made your own nets and you put up the barriers. But did you have any trouble getting people to play in the tournament?
No, that was the interesting thing. We put up a couple of signs, and the first sign. Geez, I wish I could pull it out somewhere, but it was just, if you see the signs now, which it just says Hockey at Rockies, to see George. Mm-hmm. First one we explained 4-on-4, this, that, on the street, where it's going to be, and everyone just said, it's a lot to take in, just keep it simpler. But we did that, and it was like, just from being here, because I watch all sports, but specifically hockey, and I'm a diehard Ranger fan. I have season tickets. I'm also a diehard hockey fan. But Rich is a Devil fan. Right. Pat and Craig are Islander fans. My buddy Greg, who's a Ranger fan. And then with the influx of new people into New York City, there's people from all over the place. So it's like, hey, I'm going to run a street hockey tournament. And everyone's like, that's great. So it really, like I said, hockey, getting back to the whole hockey is hockey. People hear about it and they're like, oh, this sounds like a lot of fun. So it really, I can't say I sold it as much as hockey sold it,
Excellent.
So if you have season tickets for the Rangers, you had to miss the last game today.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah. But I'll be very honest with you. I sold them, so I got money to pay off for the playoff tickets. So it's okay.
Nice. No,
and I also I split them. I'm lucky enough. I split them with 3 other great guys who were great friends of mine. One of them is Chris, who's here, who's a firefighter, and he was playing on my team today too. So the 2 of us were here rather than being at the Ranger game. So I missed a lot of it out playing, but we knew they were in the playoffs. So
right.
I got a burger today. It was very good, by the way. I highly recommend the food here. But
thank you.
For sure. And the waitress was wearing a Rangers jersey, and James said, "Oh, you're a Rangers fan?" She's like, "Oh, I'm wearing it for my boss."
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that would be me. So I try not to be a fascist, but it sometimes comes out.
Very big of it. Yeah,
well, she can wear. I told her there's a couple acceptable jerseys. Sorry to interrupt, guys. You can wear a Ranger jersey. You can wear a Notre Dame hockey jersey. You can wear a USA hockey jersey. Okay. And I guess there's a couple others I'd have to think about.
All right. There you go.
But those 3 are all acceptable. I happen to own all those 3 of those, so that's why.
Nicely done. Thank you. So, like you alluded to before, Gary and I have played in quite a few tournaments ourselves.
James more than I.
Yeah, we think we already know the answer. But officially from you, George, how much has hockey at Rockies grown since you first started in 2010 in terms of teams and players?
Again, exponentially, only because, like I said, we seem to hover around the 10 to 12 team area. But you also get a kick out of it. The first one we did it, we had no subs, and 6 minutes didn't seem like a long time.
Right.
until we undertook it, and we were all like, by the end of the third period, I'm speaking to hockey people, when you watch a team that's out in a triple overtime, that's what it looked like, but it was only 8 minutes into a game, waving their sticks at people. So then we decided, let's get subs, and so on, and like I said, other people have become involved in the neighborhood. Aetna, the construction company across the street, those guys were the ones that got the jersey barriers for us and everything like that. Greg DeVola, who's my buddy who helps me run this, I couldn't do it without him. Greg is good, and Greg does some of the social media stuff, contacts people. Like I said, if it weren't for the lousy weather today, we would have had more teams. And it's not because it was because of travel. Thank God there's a team here. We're in the other end of Brooklyn. There's a team here from out by Santa Riches. The other team that comes in is guys here from Westchester. One of the teams that couldn't make it is out in Jersey, but they might have got snow today, so they'll be here in October. But it's like I said, every year, like we always say, it gets a little bit better. And now, ironically enough, we're talking, as I said, we had mentioned earlier, there's guys who have a hockey zine, hockey magazine out here. They're looking forward to coming to it. And I also had representatives from, ironically enough, not plugging it, but from Anheuser-Busch, from Budweiser, my Bud reps. 2 of them played in it, and we're like, we're going to sponsor this next year.
Oh, so wow.
It's a nice thing. Yeah. So you said, get us some umbrellas, get us tents, get us cups, get us, stuff like that. Come in and, get the Budweiser girls here with shirts and, any hockey stuff they have.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
that's great.
Well, I'll believe that when I see it, but they're good guys. I believe. But I think they will, actually, so it's all good. So, and to be honest with you, too, sorry to interrupt you. No. It's really... we're not looking to make this thing into Lollapalooza. It's just, that's part of the reason why this works is, like I said, is it's a tight-knit group that comes back, and the people that come in are wonderful. You know what I mean? Every year it's somebody new, and they say, geez, what a good time. We can't wait to come back. And I think that's important to hold on to that. We're all hockey people, and like I said, you'll see those... Minnesota does that ice hockey tournament. What is it? I'm exaggerating, but we'd like to keep some of what we're talking about. I guess the grassroots level of it. Where the intimacy is too strong of a word, so it's an intimacy. But just on the grassroots level, keep it as a street hockey tournament. That's fun and not taken too seriously. Like you said, something like sort of what the NHL does anyway too. But we make up our rules as they go on the fly too. So.
Well, speaking as somebody who came in as an outsider relatively recently, I'm very happy, and I know my team also. We're very pleased that you've been so welcoming, and we really love coming here, and it is a great time. I appreciate
it. Thank you. That's
sure, absolutely. It's a great environment, and
I got to thank my staff for that too. So because I'm out playing hockey, so that means that they're doing a good job too, and everything like that.
Well, that's one of the things. The bar has its own team, so you have just as much investment in this tournament as anybody else.
Yes.
Is it this whole thing as much fun as you hoped it would be?
Absolutely, and even more so. I got to be honest with you. It's something, and I'm not exaggerating this or just saying this to say it. It's something that I really look forward to twice a year now, where it used to be once a year. And I think if you walked around the room, people who've returned here will tell you the same thing. It's a good day, as you can see. A lot of people bring their kids here. It's just it's just a fun day. You have a couple of beers, you eat some pizza, you play some hockey, watch some television, tell some jokes. It's just, it's a really, like I said, the whole spirit of the day is good. You know?
Yeah, and there's good camaraderie between teams. I mean, it seems for the most part everybody respects each other and everybody's willing to help out another team. Somebody is shorthanded or needs a piece of equipment or anything.
Absolutely, and I think that's one of the most important things. I'd like to keep it like that too. Listen, we're all competitive. Everybody wants to win. You know, that's the whole thing. But that's one of the most important things too. I love about the whole thing, as you were saying. It's like, oh, we're going to use your goalie, okay. And what's nice about that, no one complains and says, oh, geez, that's not fair. Everybody just goes with it, you know.
Right.
And I think that's part of the whole spirit of it too. You know what I mean? It's very important to, like I said, we're all here to have a good time. You know what I mean? It's a Saturday. Everybody's got to go back to work tomorrow, Monday, got to do whatever they do. But when you're here, let's enjoy ourselves and let's celebrate hockey. And, you know, as I said, you guys may or may not agree with me, but like I said, I didn't score this year. Well, this time I did the early one. But, you know, you make a good play, you do something, you feel like you're 12 years old again. I mean, you get a total sense of joy out of it that, you know, you really don't.
Well, as a goalie, I never score, so I'm used
to it. Well, yeah, you never know. Don't ever say that. So it's really good, especially in this tournament. So it's all good. But if you make a good save, you know what I'm talking about.
Of course, absolutely.
At the end of it. And one other good thing you love about it, just the first year we did it too, and it's just been every year. We sat up there, we played. We missed a guy this year, a guy who's a trumpet player was supposed to play the national anthem for us and stuff like that. But it'll be in next year. But getting back to like why we love hockey, it was the first game got played, it was everything like that. And no one had to say a word. Whistle blew, the horn blew, whatever it was. Everybody lined up for the handshake line. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that was the first thing everybody did. Game was over. We didn't even talk about it. It wasn't contrived. It wasn't anything. It was like everybody came over, patted each other. And like I said, that to me is one of the most important things about it. You know,
that's what you do.
It's a great thing to see. And as you can see also, it's wonderful because it's a multi-generational thing. And that's what's great about hockey. The tradition gets passed on. Baseball has its own sense of tradition. You know, all sports do. But I think hockey is one of the truest ones that really, you know, it hasn't changed much since they were playing, you know, in the 1920s, you know, when there were however many teams played before the original six.
Right. And that's why we appreciate this, too. It's the atmosphere that you developed. And just as hockey fans, it's kind of entrenched in our heads with the handshakes and stuff. It could be what I feel that I find frustrating is that people find it as, oh, you know, there's too much hitting or it's you know, checking and it's a violent sport. It's really not. I mean, just case in point right here, as you're saying.
Right, well, this is a no checking event. There is some incidental contact, sometimes a little more incidental than not. But as you see, like I said, it's co-ed. You know what I mean?
It's true too, yes.
And that's it. That's the, you know, like I said, it's a great game with no checking, no hitting. And as I said, I love checking and hitting also too. But that's not for us in the street.
Right,
This is the pros. And then you guys want to play in a beer league, that's what we tell people, you know, go to that. If you want to fight, go to the MMA gym. You know, that's what this isn't about. You know what I mean? It's a wonderful sport. It is, and like I said, it's amazing. Like I said, when you get to the championship games, you know, that's when it's sunny. It matches like the NHL or the NCAAs or any of the minor leagues. You know, the games are 3-2, 2-1. You know, it's just really amazing. It's you know, the talent matches itself.
It's true, the cream rises to the top, and that's what we were impressed with too, Gary and I, is that the level of competition. The teams are good, the players are really good, and it's a lot of fun because of that too. It's not just...
We've had like some of these guys. We've got everybody from like a bum like me who was just played, like I said, had a high school floor hockey team and played roller hockey in the street and everything, to guys who have, like, you know, really played Division I college hockey. We have guys who played for the which is actually ironically enough today at the Garden after the Ranger game, the NYPD and the FDNY game.
You know, that's sold out. We or at least my family was going to try and get tickets because we go almost every year, but it's sold out. We couldn't get.
It's a big event, you know, which is wonderful. And we came into competition with that. I'll try never to do that again, even though we got a good turnout. But it was also too, just case in point, a couple of years ago, the team made the finals. A couple was here earlier, Mike and Gina. Mike's a Long Island guy. She's from Massachusetts. She played college hockey, and Mike's played on some different levels too. Right. And they had friends come down from Canada, and one of their female friends was the goaltender, and they made it to the finals and barely lost, and it was a tight game. And it was, if they would have had a sub, you know, they might have even won the game. They were in great shape. But like I said, the female goalie, was unbelievable, and Gina herself played great. I mean, it was just, it's hockey's hockey, so it's just it's if it's played right, it's played right. So that's one of the nice things I always tell people. Like, what's this tournament like? I was like, and it's not degrading women's hockey by any stretch.
No, not at all.
I love it. You know what I mean? I think women's hockey, is nastier than men's hockey.
Right, that concept
with the cages. I love watching them. They're crazy.
The Olympics have proven that too.
Yeah, exactly. But you want to see a nasty hockey game? Watch the women play. USA, Canada play each other, and you tell me that's a boring hockey game. Good luck.
Good for you.
I watched it the other day. I was watching it. Monday night I watched the game at 1 o'clock in the morning. I said, I can't believe I'm up watching this.
Yeah, like you also alluded to before, George. Any advice you would like to share on how someone could start his or her own successful deck hockey tournament?
Speak with your friends. Pick a good spot for it. It doesn't necessarily have to be on the street. It can be in a community center, a parking lot, anything like that. And just, as you said, it falls back to hockey being like-minded. Speak to a couple of different people. And like I said, mine was just a whim that I thought maybe it'll be a one-off thing. And like I said, it has grown every year and people look forward to it. So if you're thinking of starting it, like I said, the first step is always just, throw it out there, figure it out, get a space, make sure you have enough room, probably, I would say, to have two rinks going at once, you know what I mean? The first time the first time we had one. I think that was the 6 teams here. We only had to set up one court, and the next time we set up the 2 courts, or a rink, whatever you call them in deck hockey. I always forget it. Right. Screw up the vernacular. But it's not hard, and you'll be surprised at how many, like you said, get the first one off the ground. You'll see what a good time everybody has playing, and then after that, it just rolls along. Like I said, we went from 1 a year to 2 a year. Like I said, it changes every year, and and Knockwood, everybody has a wonderful time at it. So it's all about.
You mentioned earlier, Greg helped you with social media to promote the tournament. How can we find Rocky Sullivan's?
Okay. I apologize. I'm not the huge social media guy.
No, that's okay.
But Rocky Sullivan's, we're online. You know what I mean? If you go to RockySullivansRedHook.com, that's where all the information is, directions and everything like that. You can always call the bar, and like I said, it's Rocky Sullivan's is out there. These days with your smartphone or your telephone, it's one of those things. Hello Google, yes, Rocky Sullivan's. What do you need to know? Boom, it pops right up.
Well, give people a reason that they should come here. I mean, we have plenty of reasons, but from your mouth, why should people come to Rocky Sullivan's?
People should come here because this is 20th continuing year operating. We were in Manhattan before that. And if you want to have, don't the Irish game throw you off. Pizza's out of this world here. That's what I tell everybody.
I've had it. I agree.
Thank you. But if you come to Rocky's, like you said, if you have to go to the IKEA, you have to go to the Fairway, or you just want to come down and see some good music, watch some sports, with a perfect sports bar. Cold beer, pizza, chicken wings, with burgers. What more do you want? And, we'll try to accommodate you with a television. We only have 3 of them here, but something's on for everybody. So that's what we try to do.
Excellent. Well, we can't thank you enough, George. This is a pleasure.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure. Guys, thank you, and we'll see everybody in October, hopefully.
All right, George. Thanks for sitting down. All right, and thank you again to George Kornienko for sitting down with us. We really appreciate it, George. And again, please, if you're in the Red Hook area, patronize Rocky Sullivan's. It's a great bar, great atmosphere, and I think you'll have a great time.
Agreed. And the food's great there too, besides the great selection of beers and alcoholic beverages that they have. But Gary, you had the bacon cheeseburger?
I did. Well, they basically have a hamburger on the menu, and they provide a number of toppings that you can add for additional cost. So I chose bacon and cheese because those are 2 of my very favorite toppings for really anything, but specifically hamburgers.
Yeah, and speaking of cheese, their pizza is really, really good as well. They actually have a brick oven in there and make it on the spot. So Rocky Sullivan's, yes, Gary, I agree 100%. Great place to hang out. And hopefully we'll see you in October when the next Hockey at Rocky's tournament is. So from there, like we mentioned, April 15th is tax day.
Which is today as this podcast drops on
yes,
Friday.
Sir. So get that form in and avoid some penalties from the IRS. This is me speaking on my own behalf. This does not reflect Hit the Deck in any way, shape, or form. So if you have any problems, please send them directly to me, and you can email us at hitthedeck@gmail.com.
The opinions expressed by James Sajazi herein do not reflect those of the Hit the Deck podcast or any of their affiliates.
Perfect. So, with that, I firmly believe that paying taxes in this country is painful and quite unfair. The late, great Mr. George Harrison sure let us know it may have been even worse in England.
David Jay-Z. Rhino Mac.
Nice.
'Cause I'm the taxman. Yeah, I'm the taxman. Carry on. My wife is shaking her head at me because, well, I guess she's not entirely immune.
That was great. Something that's actually worth the blood, sweat, tears, and sacrifices is playing hockey. Deck hockey, roller hockey, ice hockey, and anything else in between. Like we were coming off of the...
And you're working for no one but me. Taxman. That's actually one of my favorite Beatles songs.
You're doing an excellent rendition of it too, so nicely done. But yeah, I'm sure Gary will like to share some of his aches and pains from the hockey tournament that we just participated in. And personally for me, usually if it's in a tournament or just playing in our own league on a Saturday or Sunday, it's I always have back problems, particularly lower back, and my lack of athleticism usually comes back to bite me in the butt as well. But hockey is so much fun. It's a blast, and it's great exercise. And like we've mentioned many, many times before in this podcast, what a wonderful sport it is overall. And just being blessed to have the ability to play it in any way. We're not pretending to be NHLers or anything like that, but it's a great benefit. But, you know, if you play it well, you are going to get banged up, and you got to make sure that you stretch and you're hydrated, which is a couple of topics that we came up with in podcasts past.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like we said, mainly for me, it's kind of hard to walk a couple of days after playing deck hockey. And, yeah, I have a few new bruises and bumps too. They're not really badges of honor, but, you know, and it's good to keep them to yourself, too. No one can see where they are or whatnot. But, yeah, it's kind of – and on top of everything else, I'm not feeling very well. So with the cold weather and whatnot.
Stop whining.
But it was still worth it. I wouldn't trade it in for anything. So,
yeah, 5 days on now as we record, I'm pretty much healed, but especially the day after and for a few days afterwards, you mentioned my knees. My knees definitely hurt while I played, and my right knee, or that area of my right knee, took a bit of a beating from wearing a knee brace for most of the day. And but my legs, my lower back, and even my shoulder, I don't know how I hurt it. Maybe I dove across and I landed on it at some point or something, but my catching glove shoulder, that was really bothering me for a few days. So, yeah, and just to kind of add to your point, you don't actually have to play well to get banged up. You can play like hot garbage and still get banged up as long as you're exerting yourself.
Yeah, that is a good point. Yeah, at least make some kind of effort to try and win. But yeah, as we've seen ourselves, that there are teams that can run circles around you, and there's always somebody better or bigger or stronger or whatever. But that shouldn't dissuade you from participating and having as much fun as you can. But it does come with a physical price. And speaking of which, Mr. Jaromir Jagr, who is still playing in the NHL by some stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, he's not human.
No, the man is 44 years old and still playing pretty darn well. And we'll get into this in future Hit the Deck podcast, but the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs has begun, and Mr. Yager's team, the Florida Panthers, are playing the New York Islanders in round 1. But just getting to the point is I'm 38. Well, I'm going to be 38 pretty soon. I can't imagine what it's like being a 44-year-old and still playing in the NHL. As we've mentioned in the past, it's a grueling sport, and a lot of players have retired because of the wear and tear on their bodies. So how Yager, he's still a forward, and he still skates well. He's still strong and going at it. But I've never compared myself ever. I wouldn't insult any NHLer to compare myself to an NHL player by any stretch of the imagination. So just to put it in perspective, I'm almost 40 years old, and I can barely play deck hockey. How this guy is 44 and can still excel in the NHL is just God bless, man. They are special human beings, those guys.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
But yeah, just to sum up the taxing thing, at least when you're doing something you love and enjoy, it's worth the blood, sweat, tears, aches and pains, and investing in equipment and whatnot. So the IRS is something completely different. But
yeah, that's not something that I look forward to.
No. The good thing, though, is that April 15th happens to be my parents' wedding anniversary and Jackie Robinson's MLB debut with the Brooklyn Dodgers. So in my mind, at least, that overrides tax day. So those are good positive things.
All right. Cheers to the Sajazis and Mr. Robinson. Here's to you, Mr. Robinson. No word on whether April 15th is Erwin R. Scheister's birthday, though.
It isn't?
I don't know. It's unconfirmed.
I don't want to go near Washington or the IRS building, so I'll just keep my nose out of that.
Erwin R. Scheister being the father of current WWE superstars Bray Wyatt and Bo Dallas.
No kidding.
Yes, sir.
No wonder why Wyatt's so messed up. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Last minute remaining in the podcast.
Cool. All right, so let's wrap this bad boy up. This Hockey at Rocky special episode. So thank you for listening to our 10th episode. That's not our 10th anniversary. We'll get that next week. And I hope you'll join us for that, because I want to say it's going to be really special. It probably won't, but I'll say that anyway, because, join us next week for a really special 10th anniversary episode. And, of course, a special thank you to Anthony Sajazi for the music, Pops for being the voice of the podcast, the LIQ for sound effects. Please, if you want to get in touch with us, if you want to suggest a topic, if there's something you want to call us on, or if there's something you want to chat with us about, please contact us at hitthedeck@gmail.com. Hit us up on our Facebook page or our Instagram at hitthedeck. And, of course, on Twitter, we are at hitthedeckpod. Subscribe on iTunes or any number of other places. James, anything you want to add?
Yeah, and if you're listening and you did play in the Hockey at Rockies tournament, or if you're from Snipetown, please, we'd love to hear from you and your point of view of the tournament as well.
All right, so from us, both of us here at Hit the Deck, we want to bid you a fond adieu. And of course, remember, it's deck hockey. Don't be that guy. Thanks, everybody. Sometimes I worry she's going to hurt herself rolling her eyes at my nonsense. I'm concerned. I'm a concerned husband.